Good morning, all. I'm not sure how long this video is going to be, but I'm just going to give a few updates, okay, on a few cases. Starting with Serenity McKinney. Case timeline. Missing 4-year-old found unalive in Kentucky. This is just a brief update, let you guys know if you don't know about Serenity's case. It says the remains of the little girl were found in February 2022 by Kentucky State Police. Here's a timeline from when she went missing to when her body was found. December 24th, 2020 was the last time Serenity was seen. Christmas Eve was the last time Serenity's extended family members in Shelbyville, Kentucky said they saw the child. After that, they were in communication with Serenity and her mother, Catherine Abby McKinney, until June of 2021, which was the last time they spoke over the phone. In the fall of 2021, family members said Abby McKinney cut off all communication with her extended family. January 31st, 2022, police report filed. After Abby McKinney stopped returning her family's phone calls, her mother and stepfather contacted law enforcement in Shelby County to file a missing persons report on both Abby and Serenity on January the 31st. Deputy Shelby Guffey met with the family that day, having the family come in and sit down and express their concerns about their granddaughter. Of course, it's hard, Guffey said. I'm a mother myself. It would be a complete nightmare not to see my granddaughter or my child. She entered Abby and Serenity into the national database in case they were no longer in Kentucky. Meanwhile, Shelby County Sheriff's Office executed in Shelby, Bullitt, and Jefferson County, where they believed Abby had lived. February 3rd, 2022, the Attorney General Daniel Cameron issued a statement on Serenity's case. Cameron said Serenity's family was not cooperating with the investigation. He said the Attorney General's Special Victims Units was partnering with the Shelby and Bullitt County Sheriff's Department, Kentucky State Police, and the U.S. Secret Service to investigate the case. Shelby County's Sheriff Captain Kyle Tipton said the state was granted emergency legal custody of Serenity on February the 3rd. February the 6th, 2022, Abby McKinney, boyfriend arrested in Kansas. On Sunday, February the 6th, law enforcement officials found and served Abby in Kansas, instructing her to relinquish custody of Serenity, according to Captain Tipton. When she failed to do so, Abby and her boyfriend, Dakota Hill, were arrested and charged with custodial interference. When asked where Serenity was, Abby invoked her Fifth Amendment right not to speak with law enforcement, according to Captain Tipton. Abby McKinney and Hill are awaiting extradition from Kansas to Kentucky, a process that could take anywhere from 7 to 10 days. On February the 18th, 2022, Serenity's remains found. According to Kentucky State Police, Serenity McKinney's remains were found on Friday in West Point around the 1300 block of Skyview Road near the Jefferson-Bullitt County line. Shelby County Sheriff Timothy Moore said Abby McKinney, Serenity's biological mother, and her boyfriend, Dakota Hill, have been taken into custody. Police said both are facing murder charges in connection to Serenity's disappearance. Hill and McKinney have also been charged with abuse of a corpse. They were already in custody at the Shelby County Detention Center after being charged with custodial interference. They were arrested in Kansas on those charges before being extradited back to Kentucky. Serenity's body was taken by the Bullitt County Coroner's Office to the Kentucky Medical Examiner's Office in Louisville for an autopsy that took place Saturday morning. Those results have not yet been released. The investigation surrounding Serenity's disappearance and death remains under investigation. Well, they just recently got those results back, and it was cause of death was undetermined. But they have come to the conclusion that it is homicide, and they did, mother and her boyfriend both were supposed to have been in court in January of 2023 this year, but it has, because they're still waiting on a few more things as far as like DNA and all that stuff. They postponed the court date until June 2023. So that's the last that I can find on Serenity. But at least that baby is laid to rest. She was found, she was laid to rest, and the monsters responsible for her passing is in jail and awaiting trial. Now, on to Angel Overstreet, guys. The question remains unanswered as search continues for a West Virginia infant. Huntington, West Virginia. Angel Overstreet was first reported missing on May 25, 2021. She was only 3 months old. The case started when West Virginia Child Protective Services, CPS, said they were following up with Angel's father, Shannon Overstreet, on a custody issue from Kentucky. CPS workers confronted Overstreet on this, but he told them that he turned Angel over to CPS 2 weeks earlier. However, the agency said they had no record of that happening. The Huntington Police Department then took over the case, and that's when they discovered the last date anyone had contact with Angel was on May 8, 2021, or 2 weeks earlier. In June 2021, Kentucky State Police and the U.S. Marshal's Office and the FBI executed warrants to drain the pond on Shannon Overstreet's property in Carter County, Kentucky. They found no evidence during the search. The latest update on the case came from HPD back in December 2021. At the time, officials stated the case will remain active until new information comes to light. 13 News followed up with HPD on Friday, January the 13th, 2023, and officials say the case is still active. Angel's name has not been forgotten, though, as over 2,000 people on social media continue to post about her disappearance, still looking for answers. Right now, many say they are still left with more questions than answers. And that is so true. What seems like that happens in most cases, guys. We're always left with more questions than answers. Search completed in Revere as part of Harmony Montgomery murder investigation, guys. This is one we have all been trying to keep up to date with. A search Friday in Revere, part of ongoing investigation into the murder of 5-year-old Harmony Montgomery in 2019, has concluded. Massachusetts State Police said no new details revealed. Police from New Hampshire and Massachusetts were searching a location in Revere as part of the investigation, the New Hampshire Attorney General's office announced Friday. Due to the ongoing investigation, no additional information will be released at this time, the Attorney General's office said in a statement. Officials caution against any speculation related to the potential results of this search. Massachusetts State Police did provide some additional details, saying they are searching an area of wetlands along Route 107 in Revere, along with our Manchester police. They said the search began shortly after 9 a.m. and was prompted by information developed by the investigators. The search was conducted by about 24 officers, including troopers, state police, K-9 teams, the state police drone unit, and Manchester police officers. The Massachusetts State Police, a special emergency response team, which specializes in difficult terrain, was involved. That's very manpower intensive, said Bunker Hill Community College professor Richard Fox, an expert in forensic science, and I don't believe they'd be devoting those types of resources unless they were pretty sure of the area that they were looking in. Because Harmony's body has never been found, Fox says it's critical that investigators gather more evidence as the murder case heads to trial. They will certainly have to have something to provide evidence that the little girl is indeed deceased, said Fox. What we're waiting to find out is why this occurred, said Professor Diane Berg at Clark University. Berg has researched the history of parents murdering children and how suspects conceal the crime. These acts are usually the behavior of someone who's panicking, she said. This is very tricky because now you're also talking about all the wildlife that lives in those environments. Fox said of the search area, animals will scatter remains. Harmony's father, Adam Montgomery, was indicted in January on the second-degree murder charge in his daughter's death. Authorities allege that he killed his daughter by repeatedly striking her in the head with his fist. She was 5 years old when she was last seen in 2019. However, her disappearance did not come to light until December 2021. Her remains have not been found. That is so sad. Of course, all of these are sad. Convicted killer of Joe Clyde Daniels seeks new trial. The appeal comes 2 years after Daniels' father was sentenced to life. Nashville, Tennessee, a convicted child killer is seeking a new trial. Joseph Daniels is serving life for the murder of his 5-year-old son, Joe Clyde. It was a high-profile case, and it still remains open since the little boy's body has never been found. Daniels has now filed an official notice with the state appellate court asking for a new trial. The verdict came down 2 years ago in Dixon County. Daniels is now serving 51 years in prison, but his attorneys are set to file an appeal addressing several issues, something they promised was coming after the verdict. We had a lot of reversible errors in the trial, so he advised he wants to pursue an appeal, said Daniels' attorney, Jack Lockhart. First, the defense will argue the judge made a mistake in allowing the jury to hear Daniels' confession. Why did I kill my son? Why did I kill my son? Daniels repeated in a recording shown at trial. He and his attorney say the confession was coerced. Daniels recanted and said there was no evidence to support the claim that he had killed Joe Clyde. That leads to a second big issue. The child's body has never been found. There's no physical evidence, blood or DNA, to even prove Joe Clyde is dead. But remember, prosecutors did call Joe Clyde's older sibling, who testified at trial, who witnessed Joseph beat his brother and carry him away. The defendant started walking down the driveway. The sibling was asked at trial. Yes, was his answer. What had he done with Joe Clyde? The sibling was asked. He had him in his arms, the sibling said. The sibling's testimony helped seal Daniel's fate with the jury. One appeal his attorneys hope to raise credibility issues with both that testimony and the confession. Joe Clyde's mother, Crystal, agreed to a plea deal to serve 15 years for aggravated child abuse. She cannot appeal. And, of course, Joe Clyde's body has not been found to this day, and it happened back in April of 2018. Was Oakley Carlson sold? Police weigh in on this theory of girls missing for 2 years. Grace Harbor County, Washington. Oakley Carlson disappeared from Grace Harbor County 2 years ago, though it was not until December 2021 when the search to find the young girl began. According to court documents, Oakley's sister was at a sleepover at a home of the Oakville Elementary School principal. When asked about Oakley, she told the adult, "There is no Oakley." The young girl, Oakley's sister, who later tells Grace Harbor County investigators that their mother, Jordan Bowers, told her not to talk about Oakley, adding that Oakley had gone out into the woods and had been eaten by wolves. Those who knew Jordan Bowers are looking at her in a new light. One-time friends are now frustrated. Some even believe she sold her daughter. That's what I think, said Tracy McGee Mills, one-time friend that now believes Bowers sold her daughter. McGee Mills was named as a victim in an identity theft and fraud scheme that's landed Bowers behind bars. Those charges shed light on Bowers' gambling habits and regular trips to the casino. Detectives in that investigation linked Bowers to cash withdrawals at a nearby casino, among other locations. Workers at Little Creek Casino knew Bowers by name when Fox 13 employees asked about her visits. She was so far into gambling, you guys don't even know. She lived for it, said McGee Mills. While McGee Mills' claims may seem unthinkable, she's not the only one that believes them. A Fox 13 viewer offered a similar tip since Oakley's disappearance, a tip that led to investigators interviewing another person that believed Oakley had been sold by Bowers. Chief Paul Logan, who is heading up the Oakley Carlson investigation, told Fox 13 that they've been tracking the theory that Bowers sold Oakley since the very beginning. However, no tips have led to credible evidence. Since news of Oakley's disappearance broke in late 2021, the Grace Harbor County Sheriff's Office have received a number of tips from around the country of possible sightings. They've worked with agencies across the U.S. to look into each tip. None have led them to Oakley. The landslide of tips is just part of the challenge surrounding the case. Investigators tell Fox 13 that a lack of information early on meant they were playing catch up from the first day of the investigation. Investigators had to pinpoint when Oakley Carlson went missing, a difficult task made harder with neither Bowers nor Andrew Carlson Oakley's dad working with them. A timeline had to be built that indicated who had contact with Bowers, Carlson, or Oakley in the months leading up to the discovery that Oakley was missing. That included tracking down relatives, school personnel, surveillance videos from various stores, and more. Since the beginning of the investigation, Gray Harbor's County Sheriff's Office has worked with law enforcement in Mason and Thurston counties, Turnwater Police, FBI, State Patrol, and a number of experts that specialize in electronic data. I think if you were investigating a family, a group of people who had consistent schedules, wake up at a certain time, go to work at a certain time, come home at a certain time, people that had a close-knit group of friends, it would be easy to build a pattern of life, explained Sheriff Logan. In this case, we don't have that. It's very sporadic. And it goes on, guys, and I want to jump on over. Right now, as it stands, Jordan Bowers is sitting in jail. There's, for the last I heard about Andrew Carlson, police were still looking for him because he was supposed to have reported into a rehab program and he never showed. It was court ordered. He never showed up. And Oakley is still missing. Here we have Codi Bigsby. 1 year later, Hampton Police Chief talks about case of missing child. For the first time, 13 News now spoke one-on-one with the Hampton Police Chief, Mark Talbot, about the emotional case, one he says is still active. Hampton, Virginia. It's a question that still haunts many people in Hampton Roads. Where is 4-year-old Codi Bigsby? Hampton police started looking for him 1 year ago on January 31st, 2022, after his father, Corey Bigsby, reported him missing. Crews from other cities stepped in to help. For a week, the Hampton Police Division and other agencies set up a command center in a parking lot across from the Buckrow Point Apartments in Hampton, where Codi lived. They used divers, drones, dogs, and volunteer teams to search around his home. There are a number of really emotional cases that I know I will carry with me until I am not on the planet anymore. This case is one of them, said Hampton Police Chief Mark Talbot. Emotionally intense, very sad. For the first time, 13 News now conducted a one-on-one interview with the Hampton Police Chief. He said the case is still active. We are still looking through the evidence, making sure we have followed up on everything that needs to be followed up on, Chief Talbot said, making sure we have understood the technology we've uncovered throughout the investigation. Not much in terms of new tips or uncovering new evidence, but still working the case until the hopes of solving the mystery. He said investigators have chased many leads over the past year, but those leads haven't panned out. What I can share is that a number of things have come up since Codi Bigsby was first reported missing that we haven't been able to make public, Chief Talbot said. A number of things have come up that had us excited about the possibility of figuring out what happened. None of those things have panned out so far. So it tends to happen unexpectedly, as we got a call a week or so ago of something that came up in the community, which is an indication that it is still an active investigation. People are interested in it. Every once in a while, we are out there looking at something. Chief Talbot said he doesn't believe Codi is still alive. I've struggled with that question for a long time, he said. I don't think it is reasonable at this point to believe that Codi Bigsby is alive. I don't think it is reasonable. He is 4 years old. He obviously wouldn't be able to care for himself. No indication that he was taken. It is not reasonable to believe he is alive at this point. This case captured the hearts of thousands of people in the community. Search groups have gone door to door and combed through wooded areas over the last 12 months, hoping to find the little boy. Privately, we have always stayed searching for Codi, said Joe Sobolinski with Water Team Inc. Everywhere we go, he is always right there on the forefront. Water Team Inc. looks for missing people in Hampton Roads, and Solimski, who is a team lead, said his crew has spent countless hours on Codi's case. That took us all the way out to Roanoke, Richmond, Sublinsky said almost everything on the peninsula from the Williamsburg footprint to the Chesapeake Bay, Hampton Bay, James River. A week before Christmas 2022, Hampton police got a call about remains found behind a middle school. Many people thought it could be Codi, but investigators said they were animal remains. Sublinsky said the incident showed him how much the community is still interested in this case. My phone just started going off, asking me what I know, Sublinsky said. If Codi is found now, he said people would find minimal remains. Logic tells us, here, almost a year out, that we would be looking for physical bone structure, skeletal remains. Sublinsky said very little else to go along with that. Most of the cartilage and everything else would have been liquefied. If he was preserved, then the sky is the limit. While community tips have slowed down, Chief Talbot said investigators won't put this case on the shelf. We want to bring closure to this case, he said. We want to do everything we possibly can for this child. Investigators still want to hear from anyone who might know what happened to Codi or where he is now. Chief Talbot said even the smallest tip could move the investigation forward. We still believe that there is somebody out there that has information that would be meaningful to us, Chief Talbot said, somebody that may have lived close to the child or the child's family. We would love to hear from anybody who thinks that they could be helpful. Guys, wow. Well, guys, that was an update for a few of the children that are still out there missing. Even, if the parents have been arrested, the children have not been brought home. They've not been laid to rest, except for the case of Serenity. And she has gotten to be laid to rest. Her parents are in jail, but they haven't been to trial yet. So hopefully they will be put under the jail. Well, her mother and boyfriend, not her dad. And I hope you all overlook me stumbling around. My mouth is dry this morning, allergies, blah, blah, blah. But I love to read, and I know there's some people out there that want this information or would love to read these articles, but either one, they don't think about them, two, they don't run across them, or, there may be 1,000 different reasons why you don't read these articles yourself. So I hope you enjoy the fact that I do read them, I find them, I read them for you, and I try to give you guys the updates on these children at various times. There are so many kids out there, guys, that are missing. There are so many children that have been harmed, stolen, sold. They're still missing. It's just sad. This is a sad, sad world. But I hope this helps some people with the information I try to put out there for you all. Just say prayers for all the kids, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.